That's a really hard question. I've thought about this for a bit, and I think the best way to describe it is leadership is the ability to get people to do things that they may not necessarily want to do without you being involved in the conversation. So I don't mean it in terms of manipulation or coercion. I mean in terms of you are providing information, insight, or encouragement that would lead those people that are following you to take a course of action that you think is the right course of action. Leadership is important for sport organizations, I think, because we all have opinions on what we should do. And so I imagine in any class, in any group of people, when it comes to something like sport that is so accessible, everyone sort of thinks they're experts. And so because everyone thinks they're experts, you can't automatically assume that everyone in the room will choose the same course of action. And so if there are options, 30 people might want 30 different options. So then the leader has to find a way to get those 30 people to choose one course of action or to go down one direction, and hopefully that direction is the appropriate one. And that just takes a lot of skill and a lot of effort and a lot of sort of insight in order to get 30 different people that might have 30 different opinions to be happy with, not just be sort of tolerant, but be happy with one set of decisions, if you will. Yeah, this is where I think sport organizations is such a great uh, field or industry to look at leadership. And that's because there are two levels of followers. There are the immediate followers, and then think of you, the general manager, with the other people that work in the organization. You, the exec director of a local hockey club, and you might have the players and you might have the parents if it's a youth club. Those are the immediate followers. But you also have hundreds of critics who are de facto the secondary followers, who care about every decision you make, who's going to write something in the paper or on the blog or tweet about every decision that the leadership makes. So because of that second level of followership, getting leadership right in a sport organization is even more important. I mean, I love some of the YouTube clips people are doing now where they're sort of role modeling. What would it look like to do a post interview in a different sport? Because every coach, as soon as the game's over, they have to get in front of reporters and say something, show some leadership. The general manager, when they hire or fire players or coaches, they go right to the media and they show some leadership. Imagine if school teachers did that. Imagine if doctors did that. Doctors make decisions, teachers make decisions, and there isn't that secondary sort of, why did you make the decision? Why did you think this way? Why did it happen? Sort of immediacy that you get in sport. And so I think, although no one ever wants to claim they're the leader in sport, you go to a coach, I'm not the leader, it's the captain. You go to the captain, I'm not the leader. You go to the general manager, I'm not the leader. Clearly, leadership is probably one of the most important skill sets in a sport organization because everything is criticized and critiqued. So you have to have strong leadership to be able to manage and navigate through that. I think to me, there are two good and great and bad examples of leadership right now. The first one is Adam Silver basically deciding to shut down basketball. If you think of, and again, hopefully you follow NBA basketball to sort of get the reference. But you have this sort of COVID-19 going on. You have people having different decisions about it. And at some point, he had to step in and say, we're going to shut the season down because of this thing. That was a critical decision. He was the first sport league to do that. And so it wasn't like he was saying, let's follow other decisions. It wasn't even like the experts. So the health experts weren't calling for basketball to be shut down. He had to, at some point, say, I know everyone wants to play. Literally, everyone wants to play. Fans have tickets. The advertisers have bought advertisement. I'm going to go in a different direction. I'm going to shut the league down. That's perfect leadership. I think people are going to celebrate what he did, not only for basketball, but clearly in North America, it raised the seriousness of this pandemic. Let me contrast that with a not so great example, Rob Manfred in baseball. And so all of a sudden you have the Houston Astros, you have this huge sort of stealing, taking signs, and I just don't know if he came out strongly enough against this. I think that fortunately for him, the world sort of moved on, and so it's not in the media anymore. But I think he wasn't quite as strong, quite as demonstrative in terms of, is this a big deal or not? Stealing signs. Is this something that's worthy of major consequences? Taking back the World Series from them or not? And I think his sort of lukewarm response really did sort of keep this going for much longer than it needed to be. And once baseball gets back to normal, I think that'll be something that will come right back to the forefront. I just don't think he showed great leadership in the moment of taking baseball through that in a way that Adam Silver showed amazing leadership in taking basketball through that.